The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
I thought we were going to have a hard time finding cats to catch in these really urban spots, but there's no shortage of bobcats.
We were able to see a bigger picture. The deer management became a big deal in 1978, and from there it just took off.
Any place that you travel to work at Parks and Wildlife, it's a super cool place.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
Julie Gulla is a graduate student. When she is home, she looks after a house cat. But when she leaves home, it's often because another kind of cat is calling.
The allure of cats and their strength and their stealth, they're pretty fascinating.
Julie is studying bobcats, and where she is finding them might surprise you. With Texas Parks and Wildlife, Julie is researching these wild cats in between urban Dallas and Fort Worth.
We're hoping to answer some very basic questions about urban bobcats, something that we know very little about.
Watch out!
We do know a decent amount about them in rural areas. There's been a number of bobcat studies here in Texas, but nothing urban. We're genuinely looking at an area that is completely encompassed by human development.
We're looking at how bobcats move in the city areas. It started out with cameras. Cameras have been very important, not only to see the number of animals, but also to find those hot spots where we can catch them in a quick and efficient manner. We've gotten quite a few bobcats on camera. Let's see what we got. On trails that we do get bobcat traffic, that's where we'll put our traps. Possum, armadillo, and then another bobcat walks by. I thought we were going to have a hard time finding cats to catch in these really urban spots, but there's no shortage of bobcats, and I think people will be surprised.
When they're developing a golf course, they don't realize that the strip of trees between fairways is serving as a corridor for wildlife, but it works quite well for us.
In Euless, all around the Texas Star Golf Course, wildlife corridors are identified. Then, the real intensive work begins.
Between 7 to 10 traps are open at once. With one person running a trap line, I can't do much more than that. And we've been trapping for about 10 weeks.
It's good.
Julie is no stranger to catching carnivores. She has worked with mountain lions and wolves in other states. But baiting for bobcats has its own challenges.
The trouble is when you put a lot of scent down, a lot of stinky, nasty stuff, and then you're crawling on your belly.
Odors only go so far.
Make it rain.
Oh yeah.
Attracting bobcats requires some cat psychology.
You know, they're like house cats. They're curious, they like smells, they like feathers, they like furry, shiny stuff, and if they see something move, it's going to catch their attention. Fortunately, I can use that to my advantage.
Making cat lures isn't exactly glamorous.
We're all about recycling.
Fresh ones. I don't do rotten roadkill.
But there is plenty of evidence that the custom cat toys work.
It's batting at it. That's awesome. You can tell this one's got it, and then it lets go, and it's probably flinging around.
Of course, getting a cat's attention and getting it to enter a trap are different things. Bobcats are smart, wary, and rarely seen. Just ask someone who works where a cat can be seen daily.
Bobcats are about twice the size of your typical house cat. They are native, but people don't usually see them because they're most active when a lot of people are either just getting up or they're going to bed for the night, but they are out there. They're named the bobcat for their short little bobbed tail and just so curious. You can just tell that they're constantly thinking.
Those are just a lot of nice, natural funnels.
Derek and Julie must be constantly thinking as well, monitoring cameras, moving traps, and freshening baits.
I can put fresh raw meat, squirrel meat, rabbit meat in a trap and they still won't go in just because it's like, meh, I'm just gonna go eat my own squirrel. They're not food motivated typically just because they're so good at what they do. So that's where it comes into like just keying in on their curiosity.
It may seem curious that a carnivore could even make a living in this kind of landscape.
Oh yeah, that's Euless Avenue, so that's another collared
Wow,
cat.
8 o'clock at night, cars moving by, just doesn't even care.
The number of cats photographed
Not in a hurry.
suggests they are finding enough to eat.
The rats, the mice, the squirrels, the rabbits, the really small fuzzy critters that may be quick to us, but not too quick for a bobcat.
Between roads and buildings, green belts and watersheds connect hunting and hiding places. But exactly how cats use these habitats is not fully understood, and that is what this study is all about. The study area stretches from the edge of Fort Worth to Irving and Grand Prairie. GPS collars will store data about daily movements and ranges of individual cats for an entire year. But first, the cats must be captured. Some traps can send an alert when tripped, but Julie still checks every trap twice a day.
Driving to check traps, literally a wild bobcat chase. Here we go.
After 10 weeks of trapping,
This road is due for a bobcat.
13 cats have been captured, a few too small for collars. 9 cats now wear the GPS loggers, but one more is needed for a full range of data.
She's thinking about it.
The pressure is on. Julie's friend Jim has come from Idaho to help trap for a week.
I'm a wildlife biologist for the Nez Perce tribe. Julie and I worked on a wolf project up there.
But so far, the trappers are plagued by a different animal.
Oh, little possum. I'm just kind of convinced this guy to go on about his morning. The bar is closed. And there he goes. When you're trying to catch certain types of animals, you're always at the risk of catching bycatch species. Bye-bye, dude. Don't come back. That missed a cat last night because something fell on the door and made it close, but she got on top of the trap at one point, looking through the front of the trap. Maybe she'll come back and check it out again if the weather holds up. Ooh. Nothing.
Capturing the animals,
Possum.
meeting your quota is your biggest fear at the beginning
Nothing's changed.
because you don't know what it's going to be like. Unless somebody's done it before, we have no idea if it's possible or not.
All right. Nothing here. I no longer have my camera on my tree. My trap has been messed with. It really sucks. Nothing happening. Everything's come to a grinding halt, it seems. We're gonna get this bobcat. We have to. It's gonna go crazy. Possum. I'm somewhat frustrated with possums at the moment. One. A one possum day. It's better than a stolen camera day. He was a wonderful good squirrel.
A1 in his prime.
Now he looks terrible. Tracks? Those are bobcat. Well, there's probably a possum in the trap, so they couldn't go in. Hey, I don't know how much more of this I can even take. Always hope for tomorrow.
I was hopeful that we'd catch at least one bobcat. Time's up for me. I have to leave this afternoon. disappointing not to catch one, but I fully understand that that's how it goes.
4:52 p.m. I was just about ready to head out the door and I got a text, so I came to check the trap, and sure enough, there's a bobcat in the trap right next to a very, very busy road right at rush hour.
Derek is first on the scene.
If I had to guess, I'd say it's a juvenile male. Looks like he's a healthy animal.
Julie is just dropping Jim at the airport,
Bobcat.
but still happy for the news. The crew is soon assembled.
Yes!
This would have been an excellent April Fool's Day joke.
This is a joke. I'm going to be very upset.
But this time, it's no possum.
It was 16 pounds for him.
The crew readies a sedative cocktail to be delivered with great care and an extra long syringe.
And Derek's going to act as my decoy to kind of keep the cat facing him. Got him. Takes about 5 minutes for the drug to take effect, so we'll walk away and let him go down. So yeah, we'll wait until about 7:45. Yeah, good sleepy kitty. And we'll go to a much quieter location, not only for us, but also for the bobcat. Because even though they're down and immobilized, they can still hear. Good boy. They can still sense light and fast movement that can make their heart rate faster. So we want to keep things as calm and quiet as possible throughout the capture.
No good?
Thank you kindly, sir. So he's not able to blink right now. So this is just artificial tears.
The cat is thoroughly looked after, while being thoroughly weighed, measured, and documented.
7.5. Some of these cats have a lot of spotting, almost leopard-like. But yeah, these arm bars, that's how we identify them. They're very easy to see in nighttime photos, so that's what we get pictures of.
Okay.
You want to get good, solid information, because this is a lot of work that goes into every bobcat we catch. Teeth.
We're very excited and happy that we're adding another member to our research group. The fact is, we still have a job to do, and we don't take it very lightly.
As night falls, additional data is gathered, but not only for their study.
This is for parasitology, this is for disease, this is for genetics, this is for rodenticide. Getting a lot of information from these bobcats.
But for Julie and Derek's research,
Hey, kitty.
fitting the tracking collar is the most important step.
In a year, when we get that collar back, it could potentially be giving us 3,500 locations.
Perfect. All right, he's kind of waking up. Sit down. It's always stressful doing this because you take the animal's well-being in your hands when you work with them like this, but we did everything right and everything went really well. He's doing great right now.
It's relieving to see that the animal is coming out in great shape.
Just give him like 20 minutes.
Last cat captured and collared. Excellent day.
Having good days like today makes me know that we can get the most out of this effort. I didn't even do the thermometer, okay? I think he's good.
Four and a half months after the release, Bobcat B14 and most of the study's cats can be regularly located by the radio beacons on their collars. But not all.
We did have a cat. She lived off of a 6-lane street and she ended up getting hit by a car. We're sad to have lost a bobcat, but it's such valuable information in our study, so we can learn about the challenges that these cats overcome and sometimes don't overcome when it comes to living in an urban landscape.
Beach Tower 4 is
But 2 more cats have also gone missing.
All right, everybody ready?
And taking to the sky holds the best hope for finding them.
Our main objective is to locate these missing animals, but a secondary goal is to find out where they are not. Flying is a little bit more expensive than it is on the ground, but one flight can save you weeks of ground effort.
Within half an hour of takeoff, there is good news.
Yeah, he's definitely in here.
Cool.
He's even back there. I can already hear nothing, nothing, nothing. animals.
One of the two cats is found just beyond his last known location.
Oh yeah. So that's awesome. We'll go check up on him later today and just see what he's doing.
Within the week, the second missing cat is spotted on a trail camera. The radio beacon has stopped working, but the collar is still intact.
When you strap electronic equipment to a wild animal, you're never quite sure how that's going to hold up. It's definitely that way. I can't track him with my telemetry equipment anymore, but I can still try and monitor his presence with these cameras, and we can hopefully try and recapture him and remove the collar ourselves.
It will be months before the remaining collars drop off and reveal new secrets about the lives of urban bobcats. But the study is already shedding new light on how their habitats overlap with ours.
He was spotted about here,
Yeah.
but he was also spotted about here.
Like, we've got cats sleeping under roadways. They're hunting on golf courses. We're finding that bobcats are in neighborhoods on a daily basis, and people rarely see them and rarely have problems. If you see a bobcat, don't approach it or try to feed it. As long as we respect them as wild animals, we can continue to share this space with wildlife.
They're here, they're valuable, they are excellent critters, and to strive in an urban environment, that's incredible.
Monty Harkins and his son Jace are rounding up some of their loose cattle. Keeping the cows in their place is something the Harkins family has been doing for 5 generations.
When I was 14, my dad asked me if I wanted to be a partner in the ranch. I said, yes, I do. So I bought in at 14. My name is Monty Harkins, and we're at the Harkins Ranch.
The Harkins Ranch is 36,000 acres of Trans-Pecos Desert. It's rocky, it's dry, it's dusty, it's windy, and it's been in the family since 1905.
I'm Jace Harkins, and I'm 5th generation here at Harkins Ranch.
Monty and Jace do the heavy lifting on the ranch. Monty's wife Lisa handles the business side. The rest of the family, well, they pitch in too.
We've been really, really lucky keeping this ranch together and ranching it. It's just a great way of life. It's not an easy way of life, but you can make a living.
Historically, this ranch was primarily livestock. Some cattle, some goats, and a lot of sheep.
This is some of the best sheep country in the state of Texas. People look at it and don't believe that, but it really is.
Monty and Jace have done things a bit differently. Sheep and goats were removed from the ranch. Cattle grazing was greatly reduced. Managing for wildlife became more important.
We were able to see a bigger picture. The deer management became a big deal in 1978, and from there it just took off.
Grubbing the red-berry juniper and mesquite has helped open up the land and increase the foods available for the native wildlife.
The brush removal process has been going on here for 50 years. My granddad started back in the 60s.
So this site was treated about a year ago. This particular spot here where a juniper was removed, you create that low spot where rainfall is able to gather, and you've got grasses coming back, and there's a lot of young weeds and forbs coming up here where that rainwater is able to collect.
When we're up here, it's real plain. I mean, you can see there's a line of brush coming from the windmill down into the corner over here. And
Harkins understand that the juniper is also somewhat of a beneficial plant in the form of cover. So they do leave wildlife corridors, we call that edge effect. And it seems that the wildlife have greatly benefited from that.
Since Terrell County only gets about 13 inches of rain a year, water on the Harkins Ranch is hard to come by.
We have no spring water, no flowing water.
What they do have is an intricate water system. Miles and miles of pipe feed over 100 water troughs scattered throughout the ranch.
I'm really proud of the water systems that my dad and my granddad put in. It's unbelievable. We have pumped it either with solar or wind to get it to the surface, and gravity flowed wherever we want it to go.
As the Harkins ranching practices have evolved, they've seen a resurgence in white-tailed deer, mule deer, quail, and turkey. They've opened up their ranch for limited lease hunting, something that previous generations never envisioned.
You know, we could have made it just straight ranching, but the wildlife has really given us the extra income to make improvements that we wouldn't have been able to do. It takes a little bit of everything to make it go.
We promote a balance, and we try to follow through with that balance, and it can be done. And I know that my parents wanted to leave it better for me, and it sounds so cliche, but it's true.
Set and go.
What I see happening to this place is passing it to the 6th generation.
Stop.
Not always easy, but great rewards.
Stop. More.
Any place that you travel to work at Parks and Wildlife is a super cool place. It's in a park, it's in a wildlife management area. It's those places I wanted to be, taking pictures. The job really gave me the very things that I was seeking as a photographer, but just in a different way. Every poke of the keyboard means promoting the sustainability of, you know, conservation and wildlife and the outdoors.
Steve Schroeter is the behind-the-scenes guy. What he does is the driving force with policy and procedure. He can forecast, make predictions, and he's usually spot on.
Integrity is doing the good thing when no one else is watching, and that's Steve.
Parks and Wildlife, that's Steve.
Steve's title is a support services branch manager.
His contributions have gone well beyond what his role is.
Risk management and safety fall into the other duties as assigned.
He has not only willingly taken them on, but he's done a fantastic job doing those roles. There's the fleet management policy and procedures. There are the facility management policy and procedures, the risk management manual, the continuity of operation planning procedures, and then the motor pool procedures, so he's had his hands on all of them.
He's so driven, so passionate about the purpose and the goals of the agency that just keeps him going.
It is so much easier to be a good leader when you believe in the mission. If you have the passion in your heart, then there's nothing too arduous. The more that you put into it, the more you get back out of it, but more importantly, what the department, what the people of Texas get out of it.
With someone that's got leadership skills like Steve, you're going to see someone that's honest, someone that communicates really well, someone who is collaborative.
To the agency, he's got a great legacy, and I'm proud to have him as part of my leadership team. He's made a huge impact.
Everyone who works here seems to know what the mission is, to live it, to recreate it, and it is the place I want to be.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, Glory, Ram.